Alright guys, I am going to be showing you the more advanced pillowcase project. So I'm going to try and break this down into easy steps for you. You have 3 pieces of fabric. You should have one that's about 10 inches wide. This is called your cuff piece. You have one that is pretty skinny and it is folded in half. Leave it folded in half. This is called your accent piece. And then you have the biggest piece of fabric, which will be the big part of your pillowcase. Okay, so we have to identify the right side and the wrong side of our fabrics. So if you remember from class, the bright side of the fabric is the right side and the more faded side is the wrong side. So throughout this, I'm going to be saying pin the right sides together, or right side should be facing out. So just pay attention to which way your fabric is facing, okay? The first thing that you are going to do, and you are going to need a little bit of space for this, so maybe dining room table or even your bedroom floor. You're going to take your cuff piece, which is the one that's about 10 inches wide, and you're going to lay it down in front of you with the right side facing you, just like, so the brighter side of the fabric should be facing you. Then what you are going to do is you are going to take your big piece of fabric and you are going to lay that right on top of your cuff piece. Oh, there's my head. And you're just going to line up the top edges. Okay, so they should be perfectly lined up with each other. And just smooth out your fabric so that they are smooth. There's no wrinkles in them. Okay. And then I'm going to take my pins, and I give everybody a box of pins. I'm just going to pin this across the top so that these stay lined up. So I'm just going to, I'll start in the center so you can see it, but you just go through both layers of fabric and then back, just like that. So it should be going through. And you just make sure they're lined up with each other. And you just put your pin in, down, and back up. And I'm just doing this every few inches all the way across the top, because these parts lining up is one of the most important steps. You don't need a million pins, you just need them spaced out so that it holds together. So I did my first half, now I'm going to move on to this half. So down and then back up. Move over a few inches, make sure they're lined up. Down and then back up. And do probably 2 more. Down and back up. And then right on the corner here, down and back through. So my whole top is pinned in place. Okay? The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my accent piece. I'm going to leave this folded in half just like this. Make sure that the fold is facing you. So the open part is going at the top here. And you are going to line this up against the top edge, just like you did with the other ones. And you're going to now pin this into place. I'm noticing that my accent piece is a little long, so I'm actually going to trim this so that it is even. So if yours is a little bit off, just go ahead and trim it so that it's even. And I'm going to use the same pins, and I'm just going to re-pin everything, but now I'm just making sure I'm going through all 4 layers here. So I have my cuff fabric, my big piece of fabric, and then my folded accent piece. So I'm going to go through and back up and just pin these all into place. So I'm taking the pin out, and I'm going through all of them and back up. And I'm just making sure they're all lined up here. Okay, this pinning part is probably the most challenging part. Just making sure you've got everything lined up. If it's uneven, then it's going to end up not being sewn correctly. So we want to make sure it's all even at the top. All right, I'm going to keep pinning this, and then I'll show you guys what to do next.